All right, welcome to Idea Share for November 2020. And so this group we're now meeting once a month, first Monday of the month, and anybody's welcome to join us at any point. And this is just, we're a little bit of a support group to encourage each other and just really help each other figure out how to do ministry while we're still not quite 100% back. Some of you are like 0% back in person. Anyway, so what's new? I'm waiting for Bronwyn to jump on because I know she's got some new stuff. Oh, there she is. Well, we'll let her get connected before we call on her. So would anybody else like to share? Oh yes, Julie.
I've got two really exciting things to share. One is about women's Bible study. So I host a table of moms who have kids with special needs. And we have a very big Bible study. Normally, pre-COVID, we had a very large Bible study. And so we had a specific table that I wanted to raise up so that moms could feel comfortable knowing that they could come and go, let them come and go the way that they needed to, because you never know what's going to happen with your kids, and they didn't have to feel guilty about it and not guilty about doing the homework and all that, and just, a grace table for these moms. And so, but during the days of COVID, they were only going to allow 4 people at each table. Well, my daughter and I, Amy, would cover half the table, and we had 13 people at our table last year. So we were like, well, that's not going to work. So we decided to do a Zoom Bible study. So they gave us the video that they were using, the leaders, the video, and so they got to share that. But we did it from Zoom, and we did it at a convenient time for my moms, which was absolutely wonderful for them because they didn't have to worry about childcare. They didn't have to worry about what school was going on at that particular time. It was a lunchtime period, so everybody was free, and it just worked out beautifully. Well, at the end of the Bible study, the leadership asked us, they gave us a little survey, and they asked us for some information about how it went. And I was able to give them an idea of what these moms go through. And it was a great and wonderful opportunity to raise awareness. And one of the leaders wrote back, and it was such a precious time because she said, I had absolutely no idea what these kids are going through and what these families are going through. So I just wanted to give a shout out to all of you that what we do really matters. Raising awareness in these churches is huge, and especially with leadership. And then because these are caring and loving people for the most part, they don't want to leave our families out, right? But they just don't know. And so I just had to share that because I was in tears when I read her email when she said, thank you for what you do, and so I just wanted to give that shout out to you all too, because I know that we're all in the same boat. We're all doing, have the same goal. And I just want you to know that I appreciate every single one of you and what you do, where you do it. Then the second thing is, and I'll do this quickly, we had a fall event for special needs families. And I kind of gave a little bit of an idea some time ago about what they were thinking about doing. So this is how it turned out. They had a dinner, but only families sat at private tables, right? So it was just the family at their table. And then all of the servers, of course, wore gloves and got their temperature taken and had to wear masks, of course. But what they did was so cool because the families did their meal, and then along the path of waiting to do quote unquote trick or treating, which we don't call it that, right? But along that path, they had little games that the families could play while they were waiting. And where they were headed to was, we have a Christian school that's housed in the same building. And so they went to the classrooms to knock on doors to trick or treat. And the kids thought that was the best thing ever. So we had Liberty University students on the other side of those doors with their gloves and their masks, giving candy to these kids when they knocked on the doors. And the families gave us so many wonderful reports. They said it was the best. And we do this event every year, but it's kind of looks different than in COVID days. And but they said this was the most well-organized, the calmest, and the most enjoyable for each family for a lot of different reasons than we've ever done before. Who knew? Who knew? So anyway, it was just a great experience for everybody. And I don't know, maybe they'll change what we do next year. Maybe we'll go trick or treating.
Same thing. And I love that. I love that we're all forced to do things a little bit differently. And sometimes we're finding out that it's actually better.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's wonderful. Thank you both for being such encouragers to all of us. So those are two great reports, and I think we can all take a little something back from those. That reminds me, are you guys going to be able to be on the
Yes.
roundtable? Okay, so
It's
the
on the
third
calendar.
Wednesday of this month, so November 18th at noon Eastern time, we're going to be talking about, so it's a forum just like this, and we're going to be talking about how to do like a hybrid ministry when some of your students are in person, but you're still trying to also incorporate either, you know, students or support group or whatever that are online. So, and the Meekins have some really good, oh, you're over there, some really good experience with that. So yay. Thank you for sharing this morning.
Thank you.
All right, Bronwyn, can I call on you and you tell us about your Saturday?
Yes, you
Okay.
can. We had some like technological drama at my house this morning, so hopefully you can all hear me. Yeah, so on Saturday we hosted, our church hosted like a harvest festival carnival, but we did three different locations simultaneously because we didn't want everyone gathering in one location, and we really couldn't do that. So we chose 3 parks on kind of the 3 areas of town here, and we had about, I don't know, like 40 volunteers maybe, like throughout all the parks. And we invited people from the community. We went to apartment complexes close to our church and put flyers and invited everyone. We invited the church, and we had about, I think, maybe 300 people from all the parks together come, mostly families. Nearly everyone was dressed up, and they played social distance carnival games. So we had some, we spent several weeks trying to figure out how to make things, socially distant, and it worked out great. Like, we had such great feedback. We had a costume contest, and lots of kids and families won. So it was just really nice because a lot of families in our community did not go trick-or-treating, or they're like our family and they went trick-or-treating to like 4 predetermined houses with friends. So a lot of families said, hey, this gave us a reason, to get out of the house, to get our kids a costume. They got tons of candy. They got to see other people. It was safe. It was, we had hand sanitizer everywhere, and everyone handing out candy was wearing gloves. It was like 85 degrees, so it was nice. But some kids were like, "Oh wow, my costume's really hot." Some little kid was dressed as a polar bear, and that like came off real quick. Yeah, it was just like a really nice way to do something different. And what we found through these kind of events is that we are able to reach more of the community that has been kind of unreached before. Our community does have a disproportionate number, probably, of families impacted by disability because of the services here. And they know our church exists, but this is a way, I think, for our church to get out there. We had tons of families that receive respite or inclusion support come because they said there's no way we can like trick or treat tonight, or there's just like, it's just too, like, it's too much. And so it was a nice way. Because there's 3 parks, it was, the chaos was sort of spread out, and it went really well. Like, I think our goals were achieved, and our team was pretty pleased. So that was very fun.
That's
And
awesome.
a lot of ideas from people here, like of, doing parking lot things and stuff. So we kind of expanded on that.
Yeah, I love that you had 40 volunteers. That's incredible. I love that it was 80 degrees, since if any of you watch the Browns game on Sunday, you'll see what Cleveland's weather was like this weekend. Snow. So that's awesome. Thank you. Anybody else have something they'd like to share? Yes, Al.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's been a really busy weekend here in New Jersey, both with Liquid Church and with Young Life Capernaum. Liquid, for the 2nd month in a row, has been giving to families these special boxes for different ages, and it was geared on Halloween toward Halloween theme. So they had drive-by in a couple different locations, and people were dressed up, and everyone got a box and photos if they wanted to. And then Liquid had 2 weeks in a row of services in person in the building now. They're going well, I think, in 3 different locations. So that's going. It's really nice to be back in the building, I must admit. It was quite emotional being back in there. I didn't think I'd expect it that much, but it was really nice. Most people are still watching online, though, than going to services. And with Capernaum, we had couple events on Saturday. 2 clubs in New Jersey had a carnival. It was kind of different games, and a lot of families came to that. The New York club had an actual party. That's the picture behind me, at a pastor's house, and that was really fun. It was going the whole 2 hours, from dancing to different games, things like that. So it was really good. We're trying to meet once a month in person somehow, figuring out a way to do that. And the parents were really into it as well. So that was really cool. It wasn't just our 14 to 22-year-olds, but it was the parents were all there too. So it was great to meet them.
That's great. And by the way, at the beginning of the call, we were talking about virtual backgrounds. Al always nails the virtual background. He's always got something good going on back there. That's wonderful. Does anybody else have their local Capernaum groups meeting in person, or can you share what the virtual groups are looking like these days? Is anybody else involved with Capernaum? No? Okay. Doc or Laura, do you want to give us a little update on your conference last week? Was that just last week? It's only been 1 week, right?
Yeah, let's
2
see.
weeks.
A week and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Wonderfully Made conference was a week and a half ago. It was a great conference. Despite technical difficulties we had, we made it through that. We had over 250 attendees for it, really from all over the world. Had some from Europe attending, so that was pretty cool. But great, phenomenal material that was out there. Pretty much everyone we've talked to has said it really was some of the best conference material talks that they've ever heard. And so if any of you've missed it, no problem. We've got opportunity where you can still access everything. We've got a VIP pass because we are going to be bringing at least 1 or 2 extra talks a month for the rest of the year, the next 12 months, I should say. And so just for $50, that'll give you every talk that was at the conference, plus all access to everything we'll be doing moving forward. So you can do that, get that by going to wonderfullymadekc.com and sign up on there for that. We'll be bringing in new talks as well. If any of you have ideas that you're like, hey, I'd love to hear a talk on this, let us know. If any of you are interested in doing a talk on something, let us know. So we're very open to that. Elizabeth is on here. She'll be the one that's going to be.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Yeah, Elizabeth's on here, and she's going to be heading up, getting all that planned for this next year, getting things set up. But we're already talking through some great ones. I'm actually going to plug her because she's going to be one of our first ones, and she's going to be talking on how to use interns as we haven't worked on the title yet, so I'm botching it here, but basically as self-funded internships. And she's going to be talking about that. She's a self-funded intern. It's been phenomenal. It's been a huge blessing to us. She's had a huge blessing to it. We both learned a lot. I went into it going, I don't know if I'd ever do this. And now I'm going, that's all I'll ever do, because it's been such a huge blessing the way God's done it. Elizabeth's got the same feeling with that too. So I'm excited to hear that. So that'll be a great thing, especially in times like now where all of our churches have limited funds. You may not be able to get interns this summer. She'll help give you ideas with that. So great things there. But yeah, we had just phenomenal material, both for ministries as well as for families. So I'd also encourage you to, get your families to make sure they're aware of it. There were so many phenomenal talks. And then, we had, again, about 25 talks that were not even scheduled. They were just part of already the VIP package. So now if you do the VIP, everything's going to be there for you. So great there. So I don't know if Laura or Elizabeth have anything else to throw in. They can. We're kicking back off our Talk with Docs. They started back up last week, and this week we're going to be doing basically basics of homeschooling special ed, especially as so many things are going on right now Many schools are starting to shut down again across the country since COVID's jumping up. We've got Peggy Ployhar, who was actually one of the speakers at the conference, but she's the founder and director of homeschooling special education out of Texas, and phenomenal. She's a believer and has all kinds of great resources. So that would be something great for your families to hear. And on top of that, I think it'll be good for you as ministry leaders to be able to hear with that. But thanks to everyone on here. Many of you were speakers. So thank you for being a part of the conference. It really was successful. And thank you to everyone putting up with any technical errors, difficulties we had. That was all out of our control, but we appreciate everyone's patience.
We're all becoming technical geniuses this year, huh?
Yeah. We're learning many things. Our whole team now are pretty skilled at doing video editing, something we've never done before in our life, but we now all know our way around video editing. So praise God there. Huh?
Yep. All right, thank you. So you can check that out at wonderfullymadekc.com. All right, who else would like to share? Anybody? Yes, Barb.
So just an update on Wonderful Works. We did have our meeting with our district, and we were accepted as a ministry under their Pathways to Hope ministry, which will be the first ministry under there, meaning we can be under their 501c3, which opens up a lot of things for us. And we had a second meeting with them to see if we can got some funding with that, and trying to get some more funding and some partnership with our denomination. And we are still waiting to hear back on that, but it's been so far so good. Things have been going well, and thank you for your prayers and keep praying for us.
All right, that is wonderful news. Thank you. And where, for the new folks on, where can people check out Wonderful Works?
Yeah, so Wonderful Works is a special needs ministry online resource platform, and we make videos for children's ministry directors and volunteers that you can show directly to your volunteers. They're 5 minutes or less. You can find us at wonderfulworks.net or join our Facebook group, which is Wonderful Works Special Needs Ministry. We have all of our resources in our community within that Facebook group, and we'd love to have you.
All right, thank you. And they're very cool videos, so yeah,
Thank you.
out. All right, who else would like to share? Yes, Julie.
I've been trying to figure out how we are not meeting within our ministry, and I've been trying to figure out how to make our participants who are kind of invisible, really right now, visible in the congregation. And so one of the things that we've been doing, I got the idea here is porch portraits. And so we've had people do great pictures, and then I've mounted them on like large hexagons.
Oh, wow.
And they're like everyone's best picture. And then what I've done is we have a tunnel that connects our two buildings that goes under the road. And then I've put them together in like clusters like this.
Oh, I love it.
But there's like now probably 40 of them, and it just continues to grow. And it's just letting people see and appreciate. And it's like everyone's best picture. They just keep getting better and better. So
oh,
it's
that
been
is
nice.
Awesome. Wow, that's really cool. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm glad this group could play a part in it.
That's right.
That's great. All right, and you're getting a shout out in the chat too for that. Very cool. Very cool.
Hey, Julie, you want to share Friday night too with everybody?
Oh, sure. So we had beautiful weather about 2 weeks ago. We're in the Chicago suburbs, and since then it's gotten substantially colder. So we decided to we did an Oktoberfest event on Friday evening and had just some fun things. We did a scripture memory that all of our volunteers were dispersed throughout the parking lot and doing the signs and encouraging the people in our ministry. We did freeze dancing, and then we ended with the parable of the pumpkin, which is really awesome. I had not heard it before we did it that night. And so just a sweet time to be able to see everybody face to face. We decorated masks and had a pumpkin decorating contest and name that tune. Anyway, fun stuff.
Very cool. So you did that like in the parking lot at stations, or how was?
So what we did was everyone was parked a space and a half apart to keep, and then windows were cracked. We had a sound guy there with speakers. And so, we have music programs, and we had them perform 2 of the songs that they've been doing as well.
Yeah, it sounds weird. We were all in our cars, but we could hear
And we
each
had a blast.
we honked for each other. We introduced everybody that was there. It was a great way to get together. I was encouraged as a family.
That's great. Very cool.
No, Cassie and Cassie and Julie, that's awesome.
Kind of like the drive-in movie thing. Like, is that kind of how it looked?
Exactly. I think, yeah.
Okay.
We're all
Sorry.
a bit and a half apart, but and we got a bag when we came in, so we had all our materials with us. We decorated pumpkins in the car and got glitter everywhere. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. And Bronwyn, I'm sorry I cut you off.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that's fantastic to hear, because we are talking about doing a drive-in service or drive-in services for Christmas. And I was trying to think through the accessibility piece and, what that looked like, for families, or, for those, who might not want to just like show up in their car and hang out for an hour. So I like the creativity of doing something communal like that. I don't think we've quite figured out what we're doing yet. But it was nice to hear like, oh, that's like something connected. Like I was like, I just don't want people to like drive in their cars, sit, watch something, and then drive away, because that seems weird. No, I love that. Thank you.
The thing for me is, and we've done 2 of these, is announcing who all's there, and everybody honks and blacks they're so you kind of get that community, right? You kind of see some people, but you don't get everybody. So I like that piece of it.
So I'm having a little bit of a hard time picturing it. So do you have like an MC that is outside of the car? Okay. All right. Yes. Got it. Okay. That makes sense. All right. That's very fun. Cool. All right. We've got a Chicago connection going on in the chat. Excellent. All right. Who else wants to share? Or does anybody need like special encouragement right now? Anybody? Sylvia?
You can always use encouragement, particularly with tomorrow coming up.
I know.
That needs a special prayer.
That's for sure.
But just sometimes feeling like, you're not doing enough, even though you see that you're doing enough just by numbers growing and everything, but having that feeling like, can I do more? Last weekend we did a drive-by buddy break where like one of our buddies, or we had 3 costumed buddies that did drive-bys, and other buddies to go with them to drop off fall packages to each of the families. And we've increased, like when we were in the brick and mortar state, we would have maybe 15 to 20 families participating, but now we can distribute to 30 families throughout the Prince George's County. And some that don't live in Prince George's County, we mail like 6 families items and everything, and the families are always so excited. But it's discouraging for the families that we're not connecting with. And sometimes, you don't know whether it's by choice or by being overwhelmed, them being overwhelmed. There are some families that we connect with through Zoom calls. There's one family that I personally do a respite for that mom because she's so stressed out, where I do activities, set aside an hour a week to just have her daughter, for mom to log her daughter in. And for that hour, I spend time either going over her school lessons or just dancing with her or doing activities while her mom goes in the bedroom and goes to sleep or whatever. But it's, because like y'all know, we will not be back in church until 2022, probably at the rate we're going now, because our numbers are back up. And we are now just told, the governor said that we're going to stay in the lower end of phase 2. So we may, and the only services that we do in church now are funeral homegoing services, or like we ordained 12 deacon and deaconess on Saturday. So we had a small audience for them, but that's all we're doing, and everything else is virtual. And I don't do well in the wintertime, because when it's cloudy outside and I don't see sun for a couple of days, my melancholy person kicks in real bad. So I need you all once a month.
Yeah, well, let's give Sylvia some encouragement. So for those of you who don't know Sylvia, she's in Prince George's County, Maryland. And when she said that their church will not go back until 2022, she's being serious. Their leadership decided that until everybody can go back in the building, they're not going back in the building. So, I mean, I'll start, but Sylvia, the fact that your ministry is growing, even when you're not able to meet in person, I mean, that's just a testament to how much love you are pouring into these families. So keep it up.
Sylvia, I would say it's going to be really important that you take time for yourself during the week. And I would really encourage you to set aside time to focus on what is going well. Because just listening to what you're saying, I feel moved. Like, I feel inspired by what you're saying. You're taking an hour a week to make a difference in this mom's life. And that's huge. I mean, that is huge. So as you're battling through the discouragement, take some time to really focus on what you're on the wins and celebrate those, because I feel moved just from hearing you. So I hope that means something.
Yeah, Sylvia, I'll second all the above there. And again, I'm just going to say, you're amazing, and you're a complete blessing to your families there. They know it. Don't forget it. Continue with your passion. You are the only lifeline for some of these families, and they know it. And I know sometimes it can get frustrating for us as leaders, because we can't do everything we want to. But as you're learning, if you're even able to help one family, that's a huge blessing. So take those little blessings that you get and focus on those. Don't focus on what you can't get done. Focus on everything that you are getting done, and see those huge wins. You're making a difference in their lives, and that's what counts. You're showing the love of Jesus to these amazing families. And on top of that, whether you know it or not, you're a huge encouragement to every single person on this call, and those who will see it afterwards. You always are. I absolutely love you. I can't wait till I meet you in person one day. You have become one of my favorite people. You are always super upbeat. You have just an amazing heart. You think out of the box and are constantly trying to find ways that you can help others. So I just want to take a minute and tell you thank you. Thank you for listening to God, and doing amazing work that you're doing. So I totally understand the possibility of being down here at times, but you're doing amazing things, that your families are relying on you. and despite not being able to meet in person, you are their church right now, and they are looking at you as their church, and so just keep up doing the great thing that you're doing. I'm proud of you and love you, and just keep it up, and know that I'm here for you as well as everyone else are. And if you ever need anything, all you have to do is holler at us, and we've got your back, girl. We'll carry you as much as we need.
All right, I love this group.
I think Doc just did like a mic drop right there. I'm like,
Yeah.
what do we even say after that? But yeah, I think Sylvia and also anyone else, I totally can relate to the like, oh, could I be doing more? What should I be doing? Like, there's more families out there, and especially when we're all isolated, I think it is really hard. What I have found is that, I have a couple of staff members that I say, oh, when I'm feeling like that, I go, oh, hey guys, like, here's what I'm working on. And I'm not really sure where to go, or, oh, today's been a rough day of ministry. And just like that community of, getting other people rallied around. I have a couple interns as well. We talk through things and we talk about different families, and, some of the families, right, are carrying huge burdens, right? And it is hard to feel like we could, it's like, yeah, okay, we did respite a couple weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago for a family. We did it for 2.5 hours. And I'm like, okay, but that's just 2.5 hours. And I know that, they're struggling all the time. And so, but, the buddies and the volunteers that came, like, no, well, this is what, we did this for now, right? And so yeah, I'd encourage, get some volunteers or staff people, around you that can, you can bounce things off of and encourage each other, because it is really hard. I've been talking a ton with our youth team and our children's team, and like, man, like this is hard. There's so many people in need, and we're so separated. And I think some days it's like, oh gosh, like I should have been a barista, but but this is what we're doing, and this is what God called us to. And Sylvia, I echo what Doc and everyone else said. Like, you're awesome. Like, it's like I've only seen you on Zoom, but like I feel like I know you, and I've been inspired by you, as have lots of other people.
I mean, we already elected our president, so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Why are you worried about tomorrow? It's gonna be you, so you're gonna win.
So while we're talking
Can I throw something out
yeah,
here?
go ahead. Sorry, Catherine.
So I just want to let you guys know that we have weekly prayer. We have a small prayer team who's very dedicated to praying for Key Ministry. And we've had people off and on over the years who prayed regularly, but we've really got it organized and focused now. And so if there's ever anything that you would like to have prayer for, just send me an email, send me a message through Facebook Messenger. We're happy to add that to our rotation of things to be prayed for. And we can definitely pray anonymously if that's something you prefer, whether it's for yourself, your church, family situation that's going on, with the families you support, any of that, just feel free to reach out that way. So I'm, just a couple things that you guys have talked about today. I'm just going to add them, without names, to the prayer list for this week.
Thank you, Catherine. So that's Catherine@keyministry.org.
Yes.
To have anything added to the Key Ministry prayer team's list. Thank you. So for those of you who are back in your buildings, and maybe this isn't across the board, but I know that at my church, we've been back for a few weeks now, and with in-person services plus a modified version of children's ministry, including special needs ministry. And the numbers are pretty low. And, senior leadership is starting to get a little, they'd like the numbers to go up, while still maintaining all the, social distancing and all that. But I'm just curious if any of you all are feeling either the pressure for, okay, how do we get families back? Or if you're like tackling that at all yet. Yeah.
I'll go. So I think we've been back in our building since the last weekend in August. And we have very few families that have returned in person. And I think not so much from leadership pressure, but probably more of me internally. I feel I miss some of those families. So what I did last week, I think it was, I just kind of looked through the list of folks that I hadn't really been connecting with as much for various reasons. And I just sent them a little note, just kind of verifying with them that, hey, if we are back in person, here's kind of some of the guidelines that we're doing to make them feel comfortable. And then I just said that, if you're comfortable coming back, we would love to have you. We have space. And really for one of the families where that kiddo normally was, we have had absolutely no one else return to that room. So it's like he would have like the whole room to himself, which was super appealing to that family. So I looked this morning and they did register to come in this coming Sunday. But I don't know who else said it, but I feel like someone already said the fact that I think it's not going to be too much sooner before we take some steps backwards. Like I'm in a department meeting later this afternoon, and I'm pretty sure we'll be talking about the what ifs of if we have to move backwards in numbers and how we move forward with that. So I know that's kind of coming, but yeah.
So Bronwyn is saying in the chat that there's still Zoom church, but they do have a drop off in viewership. And I'm sure that's not uncommon as we all get Zoom fatigue. Our children and youth team has tried to figure out how do we bring church to people outside of our building because they're in California, not Cleveland, or Zoom, small gatherings, outdoor gatherings, etc. So, yeah. That's good.
We have had lots of success with like youth small groups because they kind of meet around town. I mean, again, we can meet outside still. Or we did a children's ministry thing outside, and a lot of people came to that. So people seem to be drawn to the smaller gatherings, and that's how we did the parks. We split them into 3 parks. We thought like people would come more. So people seem to be okay with a mid-sized gathering. Even if we were allowed to meet in person for church, like it would not be super high numbers. We had a worship event outside, and that was pretty well attended, I think. It was a really windy day that day. But yeah, I think the large and like the indoor part like kind of scares people. And I would imagine that's not just in California. I think there is some hesitation everywhere. So yeah, we've tried to think like, well, and like I feel like for children and youth ministry, it's a lot easier to say, hey, we're just gonna do this thing that's like really different. Whereas I think we were talking about like big church, like that's I think a little slower moving to do a lot of different things. But
well, is anybody else kind of feeling nervous that in those colder areas, because we've been able to do some things outside, through the summer and early fall, but we have a drive through a couple weeks ago and it was cold, like hand warmers, stocking caps, gloves back on. And like, it was not like California where it was 48 outside. I mean, it was chilly. So, we were talking then of like, this may be kind of our last opportunity for something outside. So it's just like, we, for our care group families are kind of going to move forward with doing a monthly delivered to them. We're working on a November one, and part of we're going to do an Advent thing for them that goes in the November goodie bag. So that'll be kind of their thing for December. But, we're trying to brainstorm ways to connect with them January, February, March, because it'll be a while before we're back outside.
Yeah, let's talk goodie bags for a second, because you mentioned, Michelle, you just mentioned a goodie bag, and Sylvia in the chat, Heather wanted to know what's in the packages. So Michelle, let's start with you. If you could tell us what's in your packages, and then Sylvia will go to you if you don't mind.
Okay, so our November is going to be kind of a gratitude and Thanksgiving type theme. And so we are working with a gal that makes these phenomenal cookies, and we're going to pre-package them individually. We're doing 12 cookies, and then we're going to pre-package sprinkles. It's a leaf, a pumpkin, and a turkey. So we're going to have a little ice. So it's like a cookie making kit for the families. Okay. And then we have created an Advent calendar for all of the families. And I'm going to put that like in a little jute bag. And we bought the clothespins and the twine for them to be able to hang that up. So that'll be in there. We're going to write a devotion kind of geared one towards younger kids and one towards older kids about kind of Thanksgiving. I think I'm going to use the Bible story about the one that came back and said thank you. So just something simple like that. And then we did a couple other activity pages for the kids. Last month we did, and I have like chocolates, but I think we're gonna put in hot chocolate in the November one and some hot apple cider packets. So like all those pre-service kind of like hot drinks, we'll put some stuff like that in them. And I'd like to get like a little candle to go with the Advent thing so that, you know, and talk about, you know, lighting a candle during your Advent time and just spending time as a family kind of talking about some stuff. So, but the price is kind of starting to add up. I couldn't believe how much clothespins.
Yeah,
cost.
I was
Just
gonna
like-
say, this is a lot.
I mean, we had to buy like almost 1,000 of those clothespins. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, fun. I want to get one of your packages.
Well, I want to know what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, Sylvia, what was your package like, or your goodie?
Well, our packet was just a snack pack this time, with just some snacks, some candy treats and chips, and a craft activity that they can do, and a scripture page
Okay.
for coloring and stuff. For Christmas, we'll probably do something a little different. I don't design anymore. I have another team of folks who do all of that stuff. So I didn't even look in the bag when they came by and started to distribute, because I really don't care. just keep the volunteers active and doing something, and me not micromanaging them. So I don't know.
All right, that's awesome. So I love the fact that, like, when families get this, they just know that you're thinking about them. Does
I was
anybody
just
else-
gonna say that.
Yeah.
I mean, I delivered October goodie bags, and we had like little mini pumpkins, and I mean, it was not the content of the bag that they were. I mean, sure, they had fun stuff and they loved it, but I think what I really heard more from is like, oh, you see me, you remembered me, you thought of us, you care. I mean, it's all those other surrounding messages that, you know, Jesus junk's not really what's the important piece. It's the message behind, you know, that we're all part of the body and Jesus really does care about us. So I would say it could be, you know, a sticker and a little, I don't know, you know, Oriental Trading. We all love that place because it's.
Right. Kathy, you shared a link. What is the link for? I'm afraid to click on it because I don't know if it's going to make my screen go away.
No worries. Again, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I have 2 boys with Down syndrome, and I'm kind of in the same family, I think, with Doc on the getting together with individuals right now. The risk is 10 times higher for individuals with Down syndrome with COVID and dying. So I you know, again, I just want to remind everybody, you know, the importance of social distancing and mask wearing and all that good stuff, especially for our guys with immune deficiencies and whatnot. And you wouldn't think, I mean, my boys are pretty active, but still, you know, we've had quite a few in the area die, you know, recently. So it's just something on the forefront for me.
Well, thank you for sharing. So that's a journal article. Okay, thank you. All right. Oh gosh, it's already 12:45. Okay. Would anybody else like to share or have questions or ideas?
I'll just, one other thing, just want to remind everyone that, you know, we have available to all of you, we do our monthly virtual respites for our individuals with disabilities. So, you know, maybe your church group isn't meeting yet or have things going on. We're happy to have you join us for those. We've got one geared towards adults, one towards teens, and then one towards elementary. If your team wants to jump on and be part of it so they can be with your individuals, we encourage that and would love that too. As well as we've got a parent support group. So, you know, if you're not at the point where you can do any of those things and trying to figure out ways to be able to minister to your participants or your families, allow us to help you out with that. You can find out more about that by going to soarspecialneeds.org or to our Facebook page, and we'd love to help you with that. And again, that's all free.
Great. Thank you for sharing that resource with us.
I just had one other thing. I'm meeting with the young stars and their parents on Sunday afternoons. And one of the things I ran across recently, you guys probably already know about it. I'm new to disability ministry in terms of the church end of it, but Douglas Talks videos have been really, our kids love puppets and stuff, and we do a lot of stuff with that. So if you haven't checked out some of those videos, they're very scripture oriented, and we went through the whole just Beatitudes and some of the other stuff recently, and just really kid friendly videos. So anyhow, Douglas Talks.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing. Love the resources. All right. Well, thank you everyone for being on here today. This again has just been a huge encouragement for me personally. I look forward to talking to you first Monday of December, and hope that you'll all join us on the third Wednesday of November, November 18th, where we're going to talk about how to do a hybrid ministry. So on behalf of Key Ministry, thanks for joining us today, and have a good month, everybody.